What?
Whoa!
What?
A4 from
A4.
Magnus Carlsen on move 1.
Okay, he's on tilt.
I was joking when I said that.
He's on tilt.
A4.
Now, a quote was given to me.
Boy, did you just see the look that
about
Wesley looked at Magnus like, are you serious?
About one of the last times Magnus Carlsen lost 2 games in a row was in Shamkir in 2014, and he said after losing both games in a row, he was ready to throw the tournament away. Now, the rest of that quote, though, is that he went to play soccer and then was feeling better and came back to win the tournament. So I'm a little. I mean, this is highly intriguing for those of you who maybe don't know. Obviously, Yaz and Sopako both suggesting how strong and important E4 is. The engine agrees that the top 3 moves are centralizing moves. They are moves like E4, D4,
and even D3.
And even D3. So A4 is, I don't even know what it is in the suggestion tree.
I like it. I have to say I like it for Magnus in this situation. Not that it is a good move and it is like winning or something, but we've already seen that E4, E6 didn't work, and definitely Wesley would find something. They have time to analyze this position with seconds, with engines. So after E4, I think Wesley would have been given some clear cut how to play and not get worse very fast.
Well, here Wesley doing the principal thing. He's responding by controlling the center. I mean,
he got the center pawn duel for free. The answer to that is that Magnus has to win, but he shouldn't get a lost position to do it. On his way to victory,
agree totally.
he's getting
I also,
a lost position. Like what?
The only other time Magnus played A4 in actually a classical game, meaning real chess, was actually at the World Blitz Championship in 2012 versus Rajabov. He won that game. It was Blitz.
He wants to bring back nice memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny you played D3. What I wanted to ask from the very starting position is I thought that after 1 E4, the best response was 1 D6 by black. So the idea is that after E4, D6, D4, now I want to play E5 because you're not getting a King's Gambit. So D3, but like 4 moves too late.
And also black has so many options here. I mean, and we're seeing comments from the Chess TV chat saying this is either brilliant or insane. Because let's analyze the potential brilliant strategy of it. He's saying, you know what? Obviously, he's frustrated. But he's saying, like, when I'm frustrated, I'm just going to, I'm going for it right now, and I'm going to completely take you out of what the engines say is the best approach here and just get back to doing what I do best,
But Wesley
which is
isn't
play
coming
chess.
to the game thinking, I've got some engine. I've got no prep. No, man. I'm just playing to put
Just
my
like
pieces
you,
on
right?
good squares. And, yeah, if you're going to give me the whole center for free and get a worse position, I'll take it. You know, like, I'm not unhappy here. And that's what Magnus is doing. I think that Magnus has been so successful in the world of chess. He's never been, his back hasn't been up against the wall since Sergei Karyakin
Won
in
game 9
9
in 2016.
He's never had back-to-back losses since Shamkir 2014, and he's not reacted well. Sorry, he's not reacted well.
I completely agree with you. I think this is a terrible position for white. I don't even care what the engine says. There's a reason why E4 was played and white won successfully
twice.
in both Nepomniachtchi and Wesley So's games.
And I definitely expected the E4 continuation.
What I dislike is that when he played A4, I was like, and A5, A6 very quickly, I was like, okay, that's maybe not best from chess point of view, but maybe psychologically it's very good and he will feel better. But I don't like that he takes time now, because when you play A4, A5, A6, you should have some kind of setup in your mind already. And it seems to me like A4, A5 was a 5-minute decision, and he just said to himself, okay, I'll play it over the board.
There was no prep put into A4, A5. No, this was just...
Jonathan Tisdall chiming in with Carlsen goes full alpha 0. Well, that's a nice way of putting it, Jonathan. In game 4 of his chess finals with Wesley So.
Well, now he's played
full
E4.
alpha 0? Well, okay.
Magnus is trying to come back to...
the center still is valuable real estate.
Do we give alpha 0... I mean, alpha 0 pushes the pawns for checkmate.
but that's
But that's actually a sacrifice. Well, you cannot take it. I understand.
Why
D
not?
takes e4, knight e4, bishop f3, I thought.
Okay.
Bishop
and
c6, queen c4.
that looks like an issue. I thought I was going to play
Knight f6,
f5
yeah?
or
instead of bishop
not
c6.
bishop c6.
Yeah.
Bishop c6 really walks into that
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
double
yeah.
attack. But I thought
Yeah.
f5, knight f6, bishop.
But on the other
c6.
hand, being Magnus, you want to get this one.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have some complications. Knight d3 maybe very quickly. I don't know. I would think that it's a bit risky to take this pawn once the pawn is on
I
a6.
tend to agree with you, but something about the body language of Wesley tells me he's not going to go for anything that lets Magnus come to life. He feels very relaxed. Magnus obviously really going to try to make it. I feel like Wesley should just keep this closed. Like, I don't know, can't you just play bishop c6 or
You
even
can. You can play knight f6. You can play bishop
knight,
c6.
knight e7 if you still want f5?
No, knight f6, bishop c6. Those moves are really sensible. But wait a minute. Whoa. Give me the pawn.
I know you want the pawn.
Please,
No
please,
one. This is not
I'm
your
asking-
pawn.
I'm not asking for much. Just,
Okay, let's
it's
give him the pawn.
Christmas
Okay.
is coming, and you
Three
guys.
pawns.
I mean, you forgot me last year, but you can make it up for it. Knight takes e4.
And we have actually Grandmaster Hikaru in chat, and he's saying, "I love Magnus's position."
I think he's
Is he
he's
sarcastic?
trolling.
Well,
Or
I think he's remembering their match in Oslo when the queen was on a1 and Magnus opened a4 and a5 and queen a4.
Okay.
And I actually think that was a draw, by the way. I think
Okay, maybe he's serious. Yeah.
But okay, hold on. I took a pawn. Come on.
Okay.
You got to look at the
Fine,
forcing moves
fine,
first.
Fine.
Okay.
Give me the pawn. Give me the pawn. No,
Okay,
you go
bishop
bishop
f3,
f3,
I like it.
f5.
And you're going to bring the other knight out. I mean,
Correct.
you are making a good point that
Right.
I don't want to give up the light square bishop.
No,
So
but e5 pawn might be a problem. Knight d3.
Bishop
Right.
f6. That's
Yeah, but then you're not putting your other knight to f6, so I
That's
can play
right.
queen e2.
Yaz doesn't care. You know what? He was going to play bishop here and castle
Bishop-
long.
You
That's
know,
right.
That's what he's
Bishop
gonna
c6,
do.
knight b4 is the problem.
Okay.
Queen e2.
Queen e2. Let's go. And bishop c6, knight b4. Go ahead, put those moves on the board, and let me bring my queen out. I don't know, queen d6, for example, something. Queen c5.
By the way, if you go here, I think I can castle long.
Is that? Yeah, I think
Yes,
you
I can.
can.
I'm not going through check. I always have to remind everyone of the rules, even though you normally think you're passing through check.
Very
It's taken a
nice.
lot of time to mess that up, enough to know the
I
rule.
think that was how Peter Spidler lost one of the
Yeah,
quarterfinal
that's a key
games.
point. Yeah.
So I'd actually have to
So
go
you don't
queen
want that. I think that's why I was
c5.
hesitating. My mouse was saying no, c5 because of castles long.
And
Okay.
okay.
By the way,
queen
you
c5.
can meet castles long with a move like knight e7, and then black is threatening to castle long.
No, because I threatened castle long.
No,
not
not short.
castle
No, not
short.
short, yeah.
That was the one I really wanted,
But
which was to
I don't
castle
want to
short.
castle long.
Okay.
Let's take it. Let's take it on c6.
By the way, Wesley really deliberating over this decision.
Yeah, well, Wesley looking at
he
that,
might want
like
the
that
pawn.
Yeah, of course. And he's cross with Magnus. He's saying,
Here we
"Come
go.
on."
Here we go.
He
He's
goes for
wondering.
it. I think he
Look,
will
We're
go
definitely
for
getting a lot of animated behavior. He's going to go for it. He goes for it. He
come
wants the
it.
pawn.
Oh.
And
He
look,
listens
Oh
to
my-
Uncle Yaz.
Of
Here we go.
course. Here
we go.
So, like, the point is like, imagine Wesley after the game. Wesley loses the game. And after the game, somebody asks Wesley, well, why didn't you take the pawn? And Wesley says, I was afraid. Afraid of what? I'm not sure what I was afraid
Because what he's saying is, I'm afraid of Magnus.
I'm afraid of Magnus.
And you don't
He's
want to
not
do that.
playing the
No, and I don't
position,
think
he's
he
playing
would. I
the
think the
person.
players have to be able to say, like, I calculated and saw X. If
Right.
they can't say I calculated and saw X or I evaluated Z,
Take the
then they have to
pawn.
go for the pawn.
Exactly.
And that's what he did.
And
I'm
exactly.
afraid of
Sopako's afraid of the pawn.
anybody.
Everybody.
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 In
Come on.
this
Anish is a
position.
very sweet guy. He would be gentle. I mean, look, even in the worst case scenario where something goes wrong and you go bishop f3 and I go knight d6 and you take an exchange, how exactly are you so excited about, I've got bishop b5, I've got...
Oh, but
I've got a center
achieved
pawn.
what I wanted. I mean, I went a4, a5, a6.
And
3
got a
moves I
weakness.
lost to get my a6 pawn.
Where it's a weakness.
It is a weakness, but I got
By the
an
way, we have queen
exchange.
e2 on the board.
Okay, from the very start, queen e2, no bishop f3. So now
Magnus wants the pawn back. He's going to play f3 and queen e5. That's actually a good sign for Wesley, I think, because
he wants the
pawn back. He's like, you know what? This whole rushing of the a pawn stack. I was kidding.
Why it is good? Why it is good? Isn't it like that? A6 is a very strong pawn.
I think it's a liability. Other people would see it as a strength. It depends. If I get to castle short, it's definitely
A liability, no debate.
Yeah.
If somehow that pawn somehow miraculously lives, and I think it would be a miracle if the pawn lives, honestly, I really do, then it will be a strength.
Wesley plays f5 anyway, and I think his main point is, if you play f3, Magnus, and you win this pawn, let's say, for argument's sake, I even put the knight on c5.
Okay.
I mean, I could also go, I know there's no squares,
what
but
you're doing.
he's just kind of saying, you know what, I can develop with tempi, come out.
Right. Go ahead, and you could take the pawn on f5.
Yeah, and I'll develop with another tempo.
Or bishop
or
g6.
bishop g6.
But I like what you're doing, knight e7.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that
Queen
Wesley's...
d5, knight e7. Yeah.
Knight e7.
Right, and the point is, it's just, there's no mate.
Yeah.
I mean,
No mate.
everything's okay.
And,
Okay.
It's very dangerous for Magnus. This is a full
Thank
tilt
you.
approach.
An alpha zero approach. Boy, I think alpha zero is
By
going
the
to
way-
write in and be angry. Like, look, you're abusing my name and reputation, Jonathan Tisdale. This is not alpha zero. I'm supposing actually Magnus should go knight d3. He should bring his knight out, and after bishop f6, then f3, knight takes e5, so that at least he's got some argument that what he's doing isn't completely terrible. He played f3 at once.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
I think
at
Wesley's
all.
going to play knight c5 and say, come Galdo, maybe bishop b4.
Knight c4 or knight d6?
I like knight d6 as well.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with either move, but knight d6, queen e5, bishop f6.
You don't give the
And
f5
pawn,
pawn.
I'd do it.
Yeah,
And
on the board?
also knight d6, if bishop b4, you could play c5. So I agree. Yeah, and Wesley does too. Wow, here we go. Look how fast they're playing here. I mean, this is...
Well, this is just
Bishop
easy play
f6.
for black. Bishop f6.
Yep.
So when we started the position at the start of the show, we said there were two bad pieces. The bishop's on the first ranks, right? So Wesley is the first to solve one. Now Magnus is going to play bishop g3, but Wesley also has got bishop c6 on tap, as well as bishop f7. But he's going to go knight e7, knight c6.
as well.
Knight
Yeah.
c4.
I would
queen
say
c4.
b2 is not something we should forget. Now remember, it's the only pawn
That's
that only
only
has
protected.
defense by the king.
Right.
We've gotten so lost in the a4. We'll call it the
yeah.
Hikaru bullet gambit, driving
Hikaru
the a
bullet
pawn. Right.
Oh my, that sounds very dangerous.
It is. Hikaru wins a lot of games that way.
The Hikaru
But
bullet gambit. But for example, queen e2, bishop b5, and black is taking over. I'm sorry, it's just very good position for black.
But
Wow.
Magnus playing a4, a5, I think he's saying that I'm going all in this game. I think he thinks that in this match, this is the moment where he has to go all in. He is not fine with draw and going into blitz 6-point down.
yeah, but to play
I
devil's
understand.
advocate of that, I mean, who says e4 is going to be a draw, right? I
Yeah,
mean, White
right.
did so well in the last couple games.
White
and
did wonderfully.
there's no way that a4 can't be seen as a psychological kind of like
Do you see it as a breakdown?
a breakdown. I don't think we can ever say that. I mean, but at this point, this is just not a good position for White.
Yeah.
And as you said, the time management suggests that there wasn't really a thought through plan. It's not like a4 was like, hey, I'm going to take Wesley out of theory, calm down, whatever. Then you remember there is no theory.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm rushing the a pawn for what purpose?
We're not sure.
Black is already significantly better here.
right.
I agree.
It just felt like a little bit on tilt. Now, we've just seen this move, by the way, queen e5, f4 in an earlier tweet, Jonathan Tisdale said, maybe the principles of developing the queen early still apply to Fischer random, and indeed they do, because G5.
Can I play G5, Queen G7?
I like it.
Thank you. That was what I was about to say. Let's get behind the development of an initiative with a gain of tempo. We love gaining tempo. By the way, G5, Queen D2, Bishop B2 is an argument of why you bring out your pieces, if you would.
Yeah, let's
be
do
so
it.
kind. And
this is a tactic.
This is for Sapiko, who likes her tactics.
Yeah.
We have a fork, everyone.
And a royal fork. Royal fork. Let's put that on the board. So, developing your pieces and threats start to magically appear. So after G5, White's queen is going where, Danny? It's not going to D2.
I think it's B4.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not saying it's good because I want to play knight e7, knight c6.
Which is definitely on Black's agenda. Castles long?
Christ.
Castles long, is that
possible too?
Also kind of formidable because
he does it right away.
Oh, he did it right
Wow.
Without G5.
Without G5.
Interesting.
Okay, because I thought there might be a trick. Well, what I wanted to do was G5, Queen C5, castles long.
You know what he's opening the door for?
What's he doing?
He's opening the door for the undefended bishop.
Well, of course.
Bishop B2 and
Exactly.
knight C4.
For example, if I play Bishop B4, G5, Queen F5, Knight F5, Bishop F8, then D1 is hanging.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So this
Nice
doesn't
line.
work.
That's a very, very nice,
So
salient, important variation.
G5 is, if you develop the bishop, let's say, I don't know, you're thinking about light square dreams. I know they're not going to get it, and getting the bishop off the square.
California dream.
Right, here it comes more natural moves.
Exactly. And again, if
And
you
now
put
that
your
you've
bishop-
castled, you can even continue to follow up with aggressive moves, and this
Wow.
could be the kind of game
Whoa,
that
whoa,
just...
whoa, whoa, Bishop B2.
Or I
That's
was
the
just going to point
landmine
out. I was
square.
going to say this is going to be the kind of game where black just rolls white, but bishop. It's
Bishop
all
B2.
over. This position is just.
But I loved what you were saying there a moment ago. Bishop E2, G5, Queen B4. Bring your pieces into play. Knight E7, Knight D5, Knight C6. They are all. The world champion is really. Again,
Have we ever seen him
No,
look
never.
like this? Right? He's just very frustrated.
I've seen enough of his blitz competitions.
Okay,
and his blitz
he
skill.
was obviously not feeling it, as they say in the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz portion.
That's what I
He
wanted
did
to
right
say.
the ship eventually in the Sinkfield Cup.
But
it
boy,
took
was
to
a
the last
wobble.
two rounds, right?
Yeah, right. It was a wobble. Yeah, he's played
Wow.
knight on G1 to E2. Not quite sure where the knight is going. Maybe in a dream to the F4 and E6 square, but
He
but
took huge
G5?
risk.
I don't even know what to say here. This is. Magnus sits up here. Sometimes you play things out of like emotional frustration, and then like, kind of the competitor in you comes out a few moves down the road, and now you're like, all right, I wanted, and now I'm ready to rock, and you're like, but wait, I can't develop either of my bishops.
By the way,
It was an impulsive decision.
Very impulsive, yeah.
He just said, okay, I don't want even to look at the engine. I just imagine like this, that he was so pissed after the loss. He was like, I just don't want to look at it.
Don't want to look at it at all. I don't
Yep.
like what's going on. Okay, so G5 was a gain of tempo against the queen. The knight on E2 can no longer go to the F4 square, very importantly. We continue with Queen G7, I suppose.
Queen G7 looks good. Bishop takes B2 is possible here because knight C4 is coming.
Well, Queen E6 check, Bishop D7. So Bishop B2.
And for anybody tuning in who has any sort we have no bias to either
Queen
of these
D5?
players. We want the best chess. But if anybody thinks we're exaggerating, the engines, which we don't have in front of us, we were just told the engine is already giving so nearly a +3 advantage as black
course.
here. Like, this is not, we're not making this up.
No.
This is
horrible.
horrible for white. It has nothing to do with who the players are or what's going on. It's just.
By the way, Bishop B2 just
Bishop
wins.
B2 looks fantastic.
It just wins because the family fork, the royal fork, is still there. And
No, but
we
Queen
have
D5 he has.
No.
Bishop
Bishop B2.
Queen E6.
Queen E6 with a check.
Queen D5.
Threatening
Bishop
A8.
D7. Queen D5 threatening Queen A8.
Yeah.
C6, a tempo against the queen.
Yeah.
D6 is defended by the queen
And
on,
I take your rook.
and the rook is hanging.
Yeah.
Oh my word. So it's bishop takes bishop f6 takes b2, rook a2. This is what we're going to see.
So's calculating. That is not a nervous So. That is a confirming variations, but that can probably psychologically be feeling nervous because you never would have a position like this against Magnus Carlsen.
No. Bless you, bless you. It's a direct hit. I'm kidding. Knight c4, queen e6 check.
Oh yeah, maybe knight c4 is even better.
Knight c4, queen e6 check.
Oh, d1's hanging.
King b8, queen takes c4, rook takes d1.
Which is
That's also very nice. But
very problematic.
Okay, black still has development issues.
It's hard not to take the pawn.
Bishop b4 here. Bishop b4.
Yeah, bishop
That's
b4 there would have worked. Okay,
backwards. I don't like that. Yeah, no, very good. Thank you. That
there's also, it's a good reason not to overthink it and just say, you know what, a pawn is a pawn, as my great Uncle Yasser once said.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Very wise man, very wise man.
Very wise man he was. And if rook a2, I can just back up.
Yeah. That's terrible.
I mean, maybe
Look
knight
at your king.
maybe knight c4, by the way, because d1's hanging.
Is that the same variation?
Oh, no, it's not.
Because,
Okay, yeah. So but just bishop back to f6 and no problem.
But, you know, what's terrible about bishop b2, rook a2 positions, now, as white, you're going to castle short.
Yeah.
And you've got to walk the gauntlet all the way across the first rank.
It's awful.
It's terrible. By the way, f5, f4 would probably force queen f2. Now, it just looks so bad, the step in the way
the reason
of the
is
bishop.
that queen b3 just allows more tempi.
Exactly.
Just join the action with more pieces. Magnus looking over the side, feeling frustrated,
very unhappy.
He's never been in this position, and you have to wonder. Fabiano.
Nobody ever pushed him.
Okay,
this
Karyakin
hard.
did win in the World Championship
In
match,
game 9.
but 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Right? In a match that he really cares about. You know, we know Magnus wants the Fischer Random Chess title, as he said with me in Sovico, he wins titles. That's why he wants it. And we said,
where titles are involved.
We know he wants it, and so this is clearly facing a lot of adversity, and something he's gonna.
Well, this would just be a huge.
Yeah,
and look at it. He's reaching for the bishop.
He's about to take the pawn.
He's going for bishop b2. Yeah, come on.
He doesn't see any reason not to.
Well, he played it already. Knight takes e4.
Yeah.
I mean, now is the
time.
No, there's no holding back now, right? I mean, and he goes for
there
it. And
this
is just.
And Magnus
responds
saw that
immediately.
Already, and he knows that his position's terrible.
He's just going to sacrifice the exchange or probably just the pawn because white will just take the bishop. Yeah, a pawn's a pawn.
What?
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 Take the bishop.
What are you guys talking
I would
about?
take the bishop.
I take the rook.
And bishop a1? Or king a1?
Rook.
How do you... Because knight f6, queen g5?
Oh,
I think there's no point. I think just take the bishop. Yeah.
No, wait a minute. If I take the rook, go ahead, please.
I want bishop a1.
Bishop a1, knight h6.
Knight h6?
H6, please.
Okay. And so you're giving this and this.
No, you have queen e6 check. I apologize.
Queen e6 would pick up the knight.
Yeah, okay. Because otherwise, if you're going queen g5, I have knight f7 and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I was thinking that white's king is so...
Yeah, it
airy.
doesn't look great.
It's airy, right? Okay. So you guys like trading the bishops. Bishop c3.
Also, knight c4 it's not an option, no. Queen e6.
Queen e6 is the problem, right?
Yeah, Wesley takes the bishop. And
Bishop takes, and then just develop, right?
Yeah.
Knight f6.
I think your move f4 comes back into mind, followed by either bishop c6 or bishop, depending on your favorite diagonal. F4 with tempo.
So you would want to think about putting maybe the bishop
I wasn't
on
sure
G6,
yet. I think this
right.
makes more sense from I'm
Understood.
better, let's be solid, hold down some critical squares. But bishop g6 says, maybe I'm not ready to call it quits yet.
Right.
I want more.
Right, exactly. That's the
What
greedy.
about
I was going to say, by the way, is knight c4, queen b4 winning
But
on this?
queen
Okay,
e6.
there's queen e6,
Yeah.
but this is...
But first f4.
So f4, the queen has to maybe take a check. Because if f4, queen to f2, how do you deal with this?
No, that looks terrible. Oh, that's just horrible, horrible.
Oops, sorry. Back to the game. So if
Right.
f4, queen e6, I gain a tempo.
King d8. Sorry.
I wanted to just get
Yeah,
the,
okay. Yeah, no,
maybe
I
you're right.
understand. Bishop d7 is a good developing move. I love
right?
it.
And
I love it.
I mean, if I go here, we get another tempo.
Right.
And we kind of just do.
Oh, this is dream. I'm a pawn up.
Oh, yeah.
As Roman Gingi-Hashvili would say, I have pawn and compensation. I have a good attack for my extra pawn.
It's
Well, we have
incredible
a lot of
what we
drama
see
here,
now.
everyone. If you're just joining us, Wesley So is not only up 6 points currently in the first ever World Fischer Random Chess Championship match, but he may be about to take a 9-point lead because of the scoring system. He will get 3 points, and Magnus Carlsen is in a shape that you rarely see him. Maybe never have we
He's
before because
floundering.
he's
I love queen f6, by the way. It controls queen e6. I want to play knight c4 and
Yes,
knight
you do.
d2. f4 is also an option.
and no more queen e6.
And no more queen e6, and the c3 knight is, this is just
And
horrible
knight
for black.
d5,
For white, sorry.
knight c4 is just wonderful. You're threatening mate on
Yeah.
b2. So knight d5, knight c4 is over, and white's
Knight-
move
knight
is
d5
knight
knight
c4
d5,
is
knight
a very nice
c4.
move.
and if I'm just losing a piece, or wait?
No, we're
No,
just
no.
trading.
Okay.
Trade.
Okay. You
But-
said it was over, and I was just pointing out I'm not getting mated. Okay, but yes.
Well, you're pawn down and
Pawn
stand.
down the endgame. Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah. No development, no
Yeah.
compensation. So
Yep.
queen f6 defends g5, controls, as you say, the long direct diagonal, as well as protects pawn on square e6, and black is ready just to continue knight c4, and as you said, knight d2, and it's
Probably
really over.
bishop e2, but then f4 is problem as well. Bishop e2,
How are
f4.
you gonna
how
keep
do-
This is
the
this,
knight?
how are
this
you
is a
going to
frustrated
position?
Magnus like we've almost never seen him. Like you
Oh,
said,
no.
the rapid and blitz he went through in St. Louis, though we know he found himself. This is different. There's more on the line
But
here.
a4,
This
a5,
is-
a6 was
this was-
total tilt. I
And
mean,
again,
this was
to
terrible.
start the game here, it wasn't played with any agenda, was the other sign. And it was very clear when he started taking his time here. And
That's what you were pointing out.
frankly,
Yeah.
only got
Yeah.
worse and just shocking right now, actually.
It's
As we,
Right.
really shocking. Look at
As-
his face. He's like, it's awful. Can we actually see what happened in
I was about to say,
Well,
let's
I
take a
was
look
gonna
at
say,
Nepo
we
and
will be
Femi,
focused here.
I
And
mean,
this is history in the
holy
making.
smokes.
A lot of stuff, but we're gonna take a quick look at the other game.
Sure.
I want
Fabiano
to know
Caruana.
what happened, like e4, which move? d6? Was d6
Yeah. We'll
play?
back up and take a quick look because in this game we have a much more balanced position currently, and
Because-
probably better for black than what Fabiano got
Yeah.
when he was black.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Jan walks
By the
off.
way, that
quickly.
looks like a pretty
Sorry.
decent-looking
Yeah, well-
Sicilian there. E4, we assume, yes.
Oh, he played e6.
But
anyway.
now he mixed it up. He's not a French.
But notice, Fabi also didn't play the most aggressive d4.
D4,
He
yeah,
played
that's-
knight e2. Jan
Matched
follows
him.
suit.
F3, that's a little strange.
Suddenly, black is the one getting the center.
a4.
What's going
as
on?
well.
And a4 also by Fabiano.
What?
Makes you think a little bit better of Magnus's a4.
What?
Maybe there's an outside chance Magnus had some idea, but I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to...
This is
Did
weirdness.
Fabi-
Because
and
I don't like this for
Magnus team up?
Fabiano either.
Yeah, I don't either. This is
like
this is beyond my understanding.
Why not
I mean,
d4 also? I mean, it's very strange that e4,
No,
e6,
even
and
I
d4
agree.
did
D-
so good in previous round.
By the way, the move knight g1 to e2, which steps in front of the bishop, steps
Yep.
in front of the queen, steps in front of the other knight. That's the traffic jam move that queen c7 made on my mind
Right.
in the first game, right? Like,
It is, yeah.
no, you can't do that. That's not the way you
I
play
agree,
chess.
and I don't know that we want to get too deeply into this
Right.
one, but again, it is... I'm already liking Jan's position much better than
By
what...
the way, bishop on g6,
Yeah.
it's really good.
e4 pawn is much weaker than d6 and e6.
This looks like a
Completely
good
agree.
Sicilian.
Yeah.
Completely
a good
agree.
Sicilian for black.
Black is just...
What?
Okay, a5 is trying to get aggressive, but this is the kind of...
What was queen f7, rook f1 all about?
Yeah,
Well-
that just seemed like a slip almost. Like,
Like,
I meant to put my queen here and just...
Sorry,
put it on the
yeah,
wrong-
mouse slips. I was like, my
I
bad. Right, what? You you force white's rook on an open file.
Yeah.
Dope.
Crazy stuff. Okay, I don't understand that one. But other than that
Okay.
move, Jan has played the best chess, I think.
Yeah, that was his idea. Rook f8. He really provoked rook f1.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, we've caught up with the live position. We're going to head back over to the other battle between
Please.
Wesley So and Magnus
As we're
Carlsen.
seeing history in the making, and we're thinking that Wesley is going to win this game. And not only is Wesley going to win this game, he's going to win the match decisively because he'll have a nine-point advantage with 12 and a half being the magic score.
Look who listened to me. I said that the only thing Magnus shouldn't do in this round is not to lose. And he went a4, a5, a6 right away.
Well, and again, it's just it's a tough position. It's facing 2 losses in a row, something, as we said, has been several years since Magnus experienced that in a tournament that he cared about, very serious tournament, as we quoted from Shamkir in 2014. And this is
Magnus has just played a very double-edged move again.
Now he's really going alpha 0.
Like, okay.
0 is there.
You know, we're always taught to play through the center. I mean,
well, what happens when your opponent
knight
controls
C4?
the center?
Knight c4.
The center is like the freeway, but when there's traffic jam, you got to take, I don't know, some back roads here. Black owns the center here.
Right.
Black has the D file. Black has the knight.
There's knight c4
Knight c4,
winning.
hg.
Knight c4, hg, rook, queen d6, playing in the center.
Oh, that
Queen
hurts.
b4.
That actually is just winning. That's an owie.
I mean, hello? That isn't
That's
that
an
the way
owie. That's a double attack.
Yeah, and knight queen b4. I mean, I cannot protect. Maybe queen e1 and queen b4, knight b3. But
so queen e1, knight d2
knight
check.
d2 check. Yeah, exactly.
Now tell me how you feel.
I feel very bad.
So knight c4. What is the move that he has planned? Is it queen takes?
Don't.
But queen c3.
Oh, queen c3, and it's just okay. I'm drawing a blank here because I'm looking for moves.
I understand. Me too. I'm drawing a blank. I played through the center.
Queen d6 hits b4. The queen is still under fire.
So
any move that
does it not defend the c3? I think queen e1 is forced.
Queen e1 is forced. I cannot do anything.
Now I'll go knight check first.
Knight check first. Because queen b4, there's knight b3.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
I just want to. I want to repeat the position once, just to,
right.
I can play queen b4 now, knight b3,
then bishop f7.
I was going to say, you can play here as bishop f7 first.
Nice.
And the king is going nowhere.
The king is going nowhere.
And it's like that's the move that's like.
Oh my God! This will be over soon.
This is ridiculous.
This is terrible. Okay, so Wesley.
Now everyone does. By the way, the bishop on d1 does have a defensive purpose here. It's guarding b3.
Remarkable.
So remarkably, the bishop is suddenly useful on d1.
Okay.
So we should at least point that out, that he's not mated yet.
Total luck.
Maybe he has something better, like instead of h4, knight c4. I like knight c4.
Okay.
hg, and maybe I can go somewhere
even better than d6.
Even better. Like,
so what do you want?
Let's say knight c4, hg, queen f8.
Okay,
E6.
you just have to watch out for e6 check.
True.
Which was the.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wanted to go rook d2 and somewhere like queen b4, rook d2.
Okay.
I don't know that it
so
was
hold
necessary.
On. No, you've got a good idea here. So queen d6, queen e1.
Yeah.
Queen
I can
b4
do it actually. I can do it what I want. Yeah.
Knight b3.
And rook d2.
Oh, you're not threatening
Bishop's
queen
hanging.
b3.
Bishop's hanging.
You're not. I thought you were going to go queen b3 and rook b2 mate.
Yeah.
But it's not mate. The c1 square.
Well, we're obviously trying to deliver a knockout blow because you get the sense it's there, but Wesley is probably going to calculate. If he doesn't see it, then there are many other logical moves here, right? I mean, knight c4, queen e1.
He can also start with f4, right?
And again, just like coming back to this idea.
Nothing's wrong with
White's not going anywhere.
Knight e7 and rook h8 to e8. Nothing wrong with pure clean development.
But what about f4 instead of
from the
knight
starting
c6?
moment?
Yeah.
f4
Do you want to take?
Yes, of course. If I move
so
my
I
queen.
take back.
Yeah, I was just considering how
G7.
I was considering how easy that endgame might be. If
Queen G7, probably. Maybe. Let's try.
So okay.
I have to go back to e1.
Right. Queen e6, bishop d7.
Yeah, it's a dead end.
Queen e1, and we just develop.
Yeah, there is no point probably. If I don't win c3 knight, there is no point.
Well, I think that this is still a major advantage for
of course. Yeah.
like a major advantage, but I was just thinking that this position looks so, h4 looks like a move that, well, again, you're just...
What if I just take on h4?
Also very reasonable.
I mean, I keep
I'm
all
a pawn
the threats.
We haven't even considered that as an option here.
I like
That's 2
queen
pawns.
f6. I like my queen on f6 because it is like knight c4 and he has huge problems. So I just take it actually. I like to take.
Well,
What did he do?
if you take on h4,
He played something. Oh, he goes for the end game.
knight c4 immediately is
He
what
goes
he did.
for the end game. That's
Interesting.
surprising.
He
Magnus
didn't
is
play
surprised
queen
too.
d6. He didn't play queen d6.
That's actually
Okay.
kind of a interesting decision by So. I guess from a match point of view, a draw is not bad, but when you're winning like
No,
this,
come
you,
on.
you have
No,
to
he
win.
may,
Come
he
on.
may still be winning.
No, of
This
course
is probably,
he's still winning. I guess
this is
I'm
probably still
going into the
plus 2.
psychology of why would you not keep the queens on the board then? He's thinking this is a 2-result position. And when you say a 2-result position, you're opening the idea that I think I'm going to win, but I'm okay with a draw, right? Isn't that that's
like
what
a bird in the hand kind
it's
of
a bird in
stuff.
the hand type of approach.
Right.
Which makes me nervous if I'm a So fan because I'm like, psychologically,
Dude, you're
why
letting
not?
him off the hook.
Dude, you're letting him off the hook. Go. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
maybe So doesn't think like that, and he just says, look, I'm up a pawn, I think I'm winning, and I'm going for the endgame.
By the
I
way,
guess he
I've got
just
rook
feels more
g2, rook
comfortable
g2. You've
because-
got to play knight f4, rook d4, knight f4, rook d4.
I think what they have in mind is like very concrete lines. They never think like I'm fine with a draw or
Okay.
I'm fine with win. I think he just, especially Wesley So, he just thinks that, okay, I'm going to calculate this one. I go rook g8, rook g2, and I'm definitely winning.
Right.
I don't think that, because
And
he
that's all I need.
understands
Yeah.
from move 1 that this position is like,
Now, either
Well,
they're having a
well,
discussion, either they're having a discussion right outside the door, or they both went to the bathroom at the same time. No, okay, Magnus is back.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But if you go 1 e4 is white and your opponent goes a5.
yeah.
Oh, wow. I go 2 d4 is white, your opponent goes a4.
A4.
You're like, what are you doing? You're giving me everything for free.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening.
Right.
Now, okay, so Magnus is about to go 2 pawns down. Rook takes g2, knight f4. Any defensive holding? No. No. I mean, it's 2 pawns. It's just it's too much.
2 very healthy pawns.
2 very healthy.
Rook
By the way,
takes-
what do you think about the a6 pawn now?
Good question.
Maybe it will be your savior.
But
I mean,
still
there is always the outside
surprised.
shot. There is always the outside shot that an advanced pawn
knight
like that.
a7, and you got the
Right.
you got the a pawn.
No, I have to say I'm still surprised. I'm very surprised. Probably he just thought that, okay, there's just no need to calculate forced lines, and I'll just go for this endgame. But
No,
if
actually,
he
it's even
took on-
worse than I thought. Sorry, I apologize
Yeah.
for interrupting you. Knight f6 to d5, it just resigns. Because you don't even get the knight to f4. Knight f6 to
Oh,
d5.
wow. And if trades, now you have
Knight
to deal
takes
with this.
d5. Now you got to deal with that.
King
And he
d5.
just
And
takes it.
rook g2, and now
And
you
it's just
don't have
over.
knight f4.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's 2 pawns and beautiful coordination. Everything is beautiful. Bishop is coming to b5.
Wesley taking his time here, debating between rook g2 immediately or knight f6 to d5 likely.
I
We're
think that's the,
you can see the live position there, everyone, right below the players on camera.
for me, that's the cleanest. I mean, I do think that knight g2 is also
And rook g2.
And rook
awesome for black, but knight f6 to d5 is the type of move that Wesley's been playing throughout the competition.
What about-
good, clean game? Yes,
What
please.
about knight d5, knight d5, knight d5, short castle?
Oh,
I forgot.
That's
it was
funny.
legal. I
So
forgot
funny.
it was
That's
legal.
funny.
Oh my
That's so
word.
legal.
Okay, okay.
Okay, it still looks
now
bad.
it's still
looks
bad after
terrible, but
knight e3,
okay, but-
c2 is still falling.
I
and then-
mean, you got to
It's
give
just
it.
funny.
no, it's
you
hilarious.
got to give it a diagram as
Yeah.
a visual.
And
Okay,
it is
protect.
interesting because it is the kind of move that could be forgotten here,
Yeah.
even by the
Right.
players.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because, I mean, less likely by them than us, but still, it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Right.
You'll be like short castle and like, whoa.
Okay, he just decides to take it. Perhaps he
Okay.
didn't like the idea of castles.
But knight f4, the rook is going backwards, I guess.
I guess, his
To
point is
G-
that rook d4
to
is coming.
G8. okay, that was a surprise move for me. I thought he was maybe going to
G7 and E7.
Right, so that he could nicely slide over and maybe even double on the D file if a circumstance presents. Okay, rook D4 was the problem, so he has to make room for his knight to go to E2.
You have to admit, though, he hasn't put it away.
No.
I mean, Wesley has not put this game away, so
it's still a lot of work to be done.
We've been shocked by the approach from Magnus. He's clearly dejected and frustrated.
Right.
Wesley was, it seemed borderline moves away from winning in this position here.
Don't you think he could win much easier?
Yes.
Than going to an end game?
Yes.
I would have never
traded queens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have never traded queens. With the pawn on B2 missing, I think White's king is simply too vulnerable, and I think queen D6 instead of capturing the knight, capturing on E3. HG5, queen D6, for me, that position is just horrendously
or as we
bad.
said, I mean, again, or call his bluff, or, F4.
By the way, even H6 is not the worst move. H4, H6.
Oh, because the knight isn't hanging.
Anything.
I mean, sorry, but the pawn isn't hanging because the knight is hanging.
On
but
C3.
then knight C4, you don't have knight C4 because of queen E6.
Okay, but you know
still,
what I'm saying. The queen stays on the diagonal.
And again, the issue is, and again, okay, if Wesley wins, it's a moot point because
That's
it
2 points.
didn't
2 pawns
matter,
is 2
right?
pawns, right?
But it is an interesting thing from a psychological perspective because it's our job to analyze this stuff, and we know that there are often decisions made in a practical sense because you minimize your risk, and even if you're aware the reward is slightly less, you believe in the reward, and you say, okay, there could be a draw. But psychologically, when you know you're close to winning, that's not a healthy point of being, right? Because you want to put the game away.
Yeah, and you want to win as cleanly as you can.
Yeah.
In other words, what for me may be an unclear position, for my opponent is very, very clear. And for me, those queens on the board, it's over. That white king is not surviving with the missing B2 pawn.
Yeah.
Actually, Jonathan Sistel, he has a very good point because Wesley in the first game, he won an amazing positional game, and it was seen how depressed Magnus was. He played so passive with bishop e8 and b5, king b7. It was very passive rather than choosing f6 and bishop g6. So maybe Wesley thinks that, okay, this actually might be minus 2 or minus 3, but it's more annoying for Magnus than other position.
Yeah, the potential for that is definitely there, and sometimes it's so frustrating playing against opponent that Tigran Petrosian was really fantastic at just frustrating the opponent's plans. I mean, he was looking for your activity before you were. So he was taking away your activity. And now we're seeing that Wesley is just controlling, and he's doing a fine job. I mean, bishop c6.
Bishop c6 is kind of a no-brainer.
Develop the pieces. Maybe
Knight
c5,
on E3 is
c4.
great piece.
c5, c4, is that like crazy? The bishop on d3 is... Okay, but I would develop the piece, bishop c6. Really, if there's only one thing I want to make sure of is that the pawn on a6 never gets to a7.
Yeah.
So if you're
because that would be a very bad sign. It would mean other things have already gone wrong.
Something went. So if you're thinking c6, king c7, b5, king b6, I give you an applause because that pawn will not get to a7.
That's really not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
It also strangles squares and eliminates. That's the kind of move that would really be frustrating. Like when you're sitting here thinking, because if you're Magnus, you might slightly be feeling like, well, at least I didn't get checkmated, right? And now I've got this bad endgame. But then your opponent comes up with a plan that eliminates the last sort of great hope.
Play in the position, right? Yeah. No question.
C5, though I like C5 more, and he agrees with you. C4.
C4
he still has this idea.
Yeah.
By the way, he still has the
and he's saying, I'll put the bishop on c6 in a better situation where I'm not blocking space.
And my king won't get checkmated by some
And
crazy
b5,
idea.
rook d6 is actually every piece is very nice. Knight on e3 is simply great. Rook on d6 also very nice. b5 at some point might be
Devastating, because, by the way, c4 is a threat here.
Big time.
Just winning a piece.
Yeah, just winning
Blunder
a piece.
alert. Yeah.
Blunder alert.
It's so bad.
It's very bad for
Magnus
It's very
is looking,
sad.
And, well, Magnus is
For
looking around and saying,
white.
just a second. I mean, don't I... Tarjay, Carlsen's worst game in the event by far. I'll agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
yesterday
it's also
we saw
just
one
at
of
a
the
poor time.
greatest...
It's okay to have your worst game in the event when it's game 1 against Fabiano Caruana.
Right.
But at the time, that might have been his worst game until this.
Yeah.
Because even though he lost these last couple of games to So, they were
But
they were
yesterday's
nail
game
biters.
was
So's game yesterday was a
fantastic.
brilliancy. Sometimes
Off
you
the
tip your
chart.
hat and you go
Yeah.
home.
Right.
Right. But then to lose this game. And I think that's how Magnus probably felt heading home last night. It's not fun, but it was more of a, you tipped your hat, Wesley played a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Losing this morning has not put him in the right state of mind.
Because this game is so bad for Magnus. Let's just avert our eyes for just a moment. Just check in on Nepo and Fabi
Yeah, let's
to
do
see if anything there is actually caught. Can Fabi equalize
It actually
the
looks
match?
kind of boring. Let's just pop over real quick and look because it's kind of fun to say, hey.
Hey.
Oh, what happened?
So
Where is
the
the
E
e4
pawn
weakness?
got traded for the a5 pawn.
Well, yeah, but Jan's up a pawn.
Ah, okay.
So,
Good
According
pawn take.
to
according to
Russian
International Master
Grandmaster,
Danny Wrench, blacks up a pawn.
Russian Grandmaster.
I can handle that a little bit.
Okay, so Fabi's got to work to save the game. Okay.
But again,
let's go back.
shout out to Jan real quick. We're going to go right back. Shout out to Jan for doing, we were really questioning his psychological state, right? But the top player from Russia has rallied, right? It's good for his fans to see. Dvorkovich would be happy, right? He acknowledged yesterday, Arkady, that, no fans in Russia like to see that. But Jan's playing very well. If he wins this game as black, he'll have done what Wesley did to him in game 2, sweep the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? So
getting a huge advantage going to day 3, the third and final day.
Yep.
Which may not see a blitz. I mean,
May not see blitz. At this point, if we don't see blitz in either match, at this point, I wouldn't be the most surprised. I'd be disappointed.
I would.
Whoa.
whoa,
Rook
whoa,
D1,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
C4.
whoa.
I mean,
Already, we're back to the
No,
Magnus
knight-
Carlsen game.
knight
Rook D1,
F3.
C4.
Knight C3, pardon me, threatens the knight, so it's not. You haven't blundered a knight, but whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, So
Yeah.
must have seen this.
Of course he did.
He took.
He's going to take C2, I guess. But I like this for Magnus, actually, unless there's a knockout blow, because opening up this side of the board with Rook C1.
I kind of agree
No.
with that.
You don't agree?
I do. I kind of agree with
B5
that, actually.
maybe, no?
I thought he was going to play some brilliant knight G2 or, when the pawn's on C5. I don't know. No, I'm not thrilled.
I'm not impressed with how Wesley's converted the game. And again, he's been better out of the opening. Magnus put himself in this hole. But I don't know that Wesley is burying it, right now.
Like, if you could go back just a few moves for a second.
Yep.
Just a little bit more, sorry. Yeah, before C5.
Okay.
Sorry, before. So right now, if I just, for argument's sake, play the move bishop D7, and you played rook E1, and I went knight G2, you could feel after knight G2, rook G2, that,
It's
I'm
getting
just
more
reducing.
Yeah.
The curtain is being drawn. Rook can come to F2, king will go to D8. There's B5, there's C5. That was much cleaner. In the current position, with what you were saying, Danny, with rook C1 coming, and I feel there might be counter chances that Magnus is undeserving.
I have a feeling that he just wants to give him half a point. Like, it's okay. Like
I don't want to.
Wesley's just that
too many
sweet.
points
He's
is
like,
just too
he's
many.
like, Magnus, it's going to be okay, buddy.
Like he
There's too
said
many
when
points.
he had a match against Nepomniachtchi that I wanted to be a good sport. When he
Right.
offered to draw, when
And repeated
Jan was,
the
yeah, I have
game.
same feeling. Like he feels bad for the guy. But
Right.
There's something about this game that has you on the thread of, again, if the storyline was different, and so is just right now completing the end of some combination, we're talking about Black has just got enough to win, right? But that's
Right.
not what happened. What happened was Black was up -3 on move 10 in this game.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what it is
terrible.
now, but I
Right.
assume that Black is not close to winning here.
No, I suppose that Wesley has a really good move here. Rook David 4. Like, give me the knight just for the moment. Rook D4.
So let's go here.
Oh, sorry, it's white.
It's white.
Yeah, I was going to say it's white for blue.
Well, play Rook C1, of course.
Right, and
What
if
is
here I can
Magnus
just take.
thinking? Yes. And if I take on F4, then you have
Yep,
a
that's
discovered
fine.
check.
You know, I wonder if
Oops.
he's just going to play Rook D2.
why not B5?
I guess I assumed that taking would be too dangerous.
A6 is now falling,
Yes, it
Right,
is.
but
You
so
can
is
move your king. No,
B5.
no, no,
but
no,
not
no,
now.
no, no, no.
First move.
Oh,
King,
sorry,
king,
sorry.
king,
Okay, yeah.
king B8 just to
Yeah.
get out of the discovery.
Okay, yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah,
And again, it
that
is
might be good enough.
2 pawns. Yeah.
It's it's no. There's no denying this is the live position. There's no denying Magnus still has the fight ahead of him to try to save the draw. But you can see Magnus sitting up now. This is not the same Carlsen we were looking at
Yeah.
Right.
more than 15 minutes ago. So
And I'm beginning to think that C5, while it looked good, was a little bit maybe second,
overly
third rate.
ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think that if he just plays Bishop D7 and prepares this move B6, B5, trade a pair of knights, get clean up the position a little bit. You know, take when your opponent's 2 pawns down. For the better part of 1,500 years, we've been trading pieces and dragging our opponent to their doom when
So
they're
you're
down.
saying there's a reason we've been doing that.
Yes, trade.
Fischer random as it is, it's still
Somehow it feels like Wesley is always choosing number 3 line of engines evaluation.
like he's
or
not
something.
quite
Like,
putting it away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after
Right.
Bishop B2, I have such feeling that he's always choosing number 3.
After the
Yeah.
since we've seen. By the way, Wesley So down to 14 minutes
Yep.
against 24 minutes. So Magnus Carlsen is enjoying at least 10-minute advantage on the clock, even though his position's horrendous. But he's
But it's
getting
not as horrendous
more
as it was.
play than maybe he deserves. And we're
Okay,
seeing
he's
King
preparing
B8,
B5 with this move. This is just a
Rook C2. No choice about that one.
prophylactic
Rook C2.
approach. Get the king off the file. I think he'll follow with B5,
Yeah, I guess.
as
so.
Sopoko said, and A6 is falling in a lot of these positions.
Now,
And then again, it looks very bad.
okay, so wait, so I'm
But
trying to
rook
play
E6.
rook E7.
Rook E6.
Oh, rook E6.
B5, rook E6.
Yeah, and that rook
Not
on
over.
G8. By the way, yes, you weren't wrong about the rook also being better on G7 before.
Well, if the rook was on G7, I could have met
Bishop
rook
D7.
C1 with rook C7, a moment ago.
I
guess
Bishop
it's
D7.
good to remember that Black is up 2 pawns.
Yeah, like keep reminding
You know, it's so funny.
ourselves,
One developing move makes you remember it all.
Right.
Like, actually, suddenly when things are protected and you're bringing your rook to the C file, Black is like, okay, I didn't checkmate you. At this point, do you think psychologically, okay, looking at Magnus, he's definitely more focused than he was earlier. He's not as frustrated. But if you're thinking about So, do you feel like So kind of knows he probably missed something?
No, he
You don't
went
think
for
so?
it himself.
You don't think so?
No, I think he's just thinking in his mind, like, look, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a good job. I'm making a good move. Bishop D7. It's a good move.
But don't you,
King
don't you
B8,
ever
it's a
have
good
that in your
move.
games when the queens are traded and you were on a checkmate attack? Even if you know you're better in the endgame, you have to know inside, like,
But I would never treat
you would never. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes-
Is there ever an emotional hangover when
Of
you
course.
kind of
It
know
is,
it got? You have to re-win the game again. We've all
Yeah.
had that.
Of
Yeah,
course.
definitely.
You're carrying this emotional baggage of what
Right.
happened before. But
So what I'm asking is, you don't
really
think there's
have-
that there for So here? You don't think so, or that's what I'm suggesting is
Yeah,
maybe this is going to be harder for him emotionally.
Well, you got to get over that. I mean, as
Yeah.
a professional, you got to expect that you will blunder. master. You will make mistakes.
But it was his decision because he for sure saw knight c4, queen d6, or any other option,
absolutely.
f4 or h6 or whatever.
Agreed.
But maybe first think what he thought after like knight c4, hg, and because it was very forced line, he thought, okay, what about this endgame actually? Do I need to calculate at all? And he liked the endgame and he went for it.
Exactly, 2 extra pawns, and now he's just played the move b5, a move we've been expecting for some time. Let's get rid of this liability. Let's get rid of this win a third pawn. And for Wesley, he's just sitting there saying, okay, I'm collecting another little peshki, another one, and I'm building up a winning advantage. What have I done wrong? So for him, he's putting the game away. Kathrani?
Dakshish Kathrani says...
Feels like Wesley's playing for a draw. No, I think that Wesley's playing for 2 results. That when he went into the endgame, he said, well, hey, this ending, I'm winning or drawing.
I just think he's just playing. He
and again, and you can be totally right. Obviously, we understand, or we had a feeling like Black was closer to living it. So it's
like we thought he was.
And it's hard not to relate to that as players when you know, but maybe from his perspective, he was constantly, as Tisdale said, taking the less flashy road. He had the one game with Bishop H6. He gave us that game. But
once again, personality.
Hold on, we have a result.
Fabiano Caruana and Jan Nepomniachtchi have agreed on a draw, which means Nepomniachtchi will take a 3-point lead into the break day.
But he had pawn, no? Nepo was pawn up?
We can quickly look at the final position if we want. Looks like Fabi grabbed it back. And
Perpetual check on the back rank there.
And no more pawn.
And no more pawn.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
All right, so just checking.
Just checking. No,
I like that feature, by the way, in new in chess. At the very back, they have just checking, and they ask these grandmasters these questions. And Simon Agnerstein, in the latest issue, Simon Agnerstein had been asked, well, you know, what's unusual? What would surprise the audience of what you did lately? And apparently, he sang at a concert with 20,000 people.
Simon Agnerstein?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, what?
Wow.
Simon Agnerstein may be the most talented Norwegian on
ever.
the face of the planet. The guy is a professional soccer player.
He's
a grandmaster.
Right.
He just sang in front of 20,000 people?
And he was training.
What does he not do?
And he was the trainer for Magnus Carlsen. Let's start with that.
Which one of those is the greatest accomplishment?
I know, it's amazing.
Right? He was here earlier. We should have got Simon on the show.
Wow. But once again, I think it's about personalities. Like Mamediyarov, if she had this position,
would never have traded.
He would have never played knight e3.
No.
Or Jobava.
No. Oh gosh, Najmedinov, Jobava, Michael Tal. No.
So once
Victor
again,
Korchnoi might have traded the queens and said, "Look, dude, I'm winning this ending, and this is the ABCs of chess."
Anish.
Oh,
what
would have Anish done?
Because I don't know, because they say that Wesley and Anish, they have nearly similar style. Yeah, same style. I don't know. I will ask him.
Would he have secured the draw and then play for the win?
And Magnus taking a moment.
By the way, that's a nice. If I'm Wesley, I'm really embracing this move. It's like, thank you for making that move.
I will trade without thinking.
Knight
one piece off the board, probably rook d6.
Yeah. Oh,
Bishop e6.
There's rook f6. Maybe is an issue. Okay. But rook d6. And look, I'm 3 pawns up.
I mean, you can even take the knight and take the f3 pawn. You've got 1.5 million pawns there.
If you really are.
If you want to make it spicy.
By the way, isn't that the way Magnus went against Fabi by going into an endgame?
You would never go for this. Probably mainly because this pawn falls.
Yeah.
That's like
that's very
if not for
sad.
that, you could almost go for this. Yeah.
Right. If we could anchor our bishop on c4, then it's a very, very viable option.
Right.
But we're expecting rook d6, and from Wesley's perspective, he's just, casting and bringing in the point.
But if you actually want to sacrifice exchange, you can do it like rook a2, king a2, bishop e6. That's very desperate.
Now we're just looking for things.
No. And that,
But
everything Wesley has done, the
grab
chances that he's
F3
going to
pawn.
do that is like 0, 0, 0, 0.
You
I mean,
grab
alpha
F3
0
pawn.
would not.
I just gave an idea.
Okay, so the point was that we're trying to play rook d6, knight f6, bishop e6, and we want to trade off the rook on g8 for the rook on f7. Okay, just wanted to clarify for everyone that rook d6, knight f6 is not a fork. It's not like, and you're not, I was going to play bishop e6 actually, but that's fine too.
Why not rook d8 instead of rook d6? No, I mean instead of rook d6.
No.
So h7's falling in
answers.
some positions?
I just want bishop e6 and knight b4 you have, yeah? Then I don't want to give up, of course.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? No, why
Knight b4.
Knight b4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, you meant it like in
Yeah.
this. Thank you. I actually thought we were going to play for rook c8. That was why I was that was why I was playing like rook
Yeah,
d6.
that makes sense, because if you go for that, like, if you get this rook off the board,
then it's over. Like, then there's no attack, and I've got
this
two
bishop is
connected
perfectly
pass
placed to
pawns.
guard f5. You coordinate, you get your king off the back rank and push him, baby.
Right. And knight d5.
And by the way, he has just played rook to d6, so Wesley is making it very difficult for the world champion.
He's reeling in the victory.
Yep.
Sorry, that I couldn't think of the word. He's reeling home the victory now.
Probably even after rook h7, you can just go rook g3.
Rook takes d5. Sorry, rook takes
Oh,
d5.
yeah. True.
It's late. We're not going to take that. We're not deducting. By the way, you guys are so far ahead in the credit. What
I made so many blunders
Magnus
today. Today was not my
when
good
Jan was
calculation.
here. Oh, no.
No,
You guys.
Sopico has taken the
I
cake in
mean,
terms of keeping everybody in check tactically.
I mean, you guys are like millionaires as far as I'm concerned. You know,
the fact that I drive us here safely every day.
that counts.
That's the only thing I'm doing well in this partnership. I get you two here.
The pizza.
And the pizza.
Don't
You
sell
do your
yourself
thing,
short.
And I get the pizza.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
got the
and Sopico's the star. But for the 16,000 of you who are wondering why this moment is so dramatic, exactly what you see in front of you explains it. The scoreboard, as they say, is a big problem for Magnus Carlsen. He's already down 6 points, and a loss here in this portion would still give 3 points to Wesley So. The way the scoring works is 3 points for every victory in this slow rapid segment.
Word.
So
Rook g3
Oh
now.
my word! I mean, I've seen Magnus play some bad chess. He's probably all of his sins are being put together behind this one game. Now, forget everything else.
Right.
When you put a knight on e7, you know that's one of the most impotent squares. You know.
Right.
F6 is the square. C6 is the square. C7 is the square. Knight e7. Rook h8.
rook h8 and push the h pawn.
Well, just why did you put your knight on e7?
Well, he wants f5. Is he going to take it? I mean, I think that's the
That's
only.
a good point. Okay, he
that's
does
the-
want f5. So, okay.
I hear you, but I think that's the only option. Is what he's trying to do
Knight
is.
e7, though. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh boy, that looks.
But
so
you're probably
bad.
right that you could get away with something like rook h8.
Yeah,
he goes
he
for it
goes
after.
for it.
And let's just show the line. Could you even just push here?
Giving everything?
And
Why
rook
would you
b6.
do
Rook
that?
guess you
b6.
would.
Rook.
Okay, never mind, never mind.
No, continue. Rook b6.
Yeah,
It
okay.
might just.
It is what I wanted, but Sopico was yelling at me.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do it.
No reason to do it,
I'm
and
with
it
you.
might be winning completely, by the way.
But okay, so that means how is he going to deal with knight f5, which is about to happen?
Well,
Knight f5.
knight f5, rook d3.
Rook d3.
Looks like a
Yes.
good start. Yes.
Rook d3.
Rook c5.
Oh, rook c5. Okay. Magnus wants counterplay.
Okay, so a6.
I
a6
don't
or
like
h5.
what's going on here. I mean,
For Magnus or for Wesley? I think
Wesley.
No, Wesley's doing great.
no, Wesley's doing. Oh. Yeah,
You're 3 pawns up.
I'm
Counter,
I'm
baby.
kind of
That's
coming
like,
around to Wesley's approach more and more. By the way, though it hasn't been a huge storyline here, remember everyone, when they reach move 40, which they are 6 moves away, they'll get 15 more minutes. So Wesley does have more time than the 8 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Exactly, and that will be the only time he gets. After the move a6, what are you doing? Sorry, why are you upset?
I don't know what was the point of rook c5, but I
That
really
looks
don't
like
know
a
what was
very
the
useful
point
tempo for
for black.
black.
rook d2 or any kind of check.
And now I'm even thinking about king b7 and king b6, so I'm getting rid of any.
Yeah, that's a
types
really
of
good
threats.
point, is that you're just making it easy. Like, if there's no tactics to dislodge this blockade, or it's not even a blockade, but it is of the 7th rank, right?
He's
If
going to
there's-
take the pawn, and he has done
So
it.
he
Knight
does it.
f5. Okay.
Now, this is the best chance Magnus has if there's something on the 7th rank that cooks up a perpetual.
Which isn't even possible, right? So if I go bishop f5,
I have to take.
with, I guess
I kind of want the 7th, so I guess I'll take
And
with
he's
this
got
rook.
it?
Yeah,
and now
he
he
goes.
took it with that. Okay, so
Yeah,
then we go
Just
h5.
go h5, yeah. But
And
7th
h5.
rank? Are not you a bit?
Well, if you go, yeah.
You can also play rook b6 or
Precisely.
rook b7
Yeah.
here. I was going to say just do it now. Don't even wait for h5.
Oh.
Because you guard h7 in the x-ray
And
through
you
the
have
rook.
2 pawns, yeah.
Right? So you play here, rook
I-
h5.
Or
you,
even,
you guard h7 through the rook.
yeah, even rook c6, rook c7, cutting the king.
Okay, yeah,
So-
same
I
same
can't
idea,
argue with
probably a
that.
little more accurate, right? You guard this. Very nice. And I think
Yeah. I seriously, I can't argue with that. I just thought that h5, rook g7, h4, rook doubles on the 7th rank, rook b6, what you
And you-
just said.
Yeah.
LOL, as they say. That's what the cool kids do. They say LOL. Lol.
I show that
But
variation.
then
We're
rook
looking
h7,
The point
no?
is-
h5.
Rook g7.
The
Yeah.
point is you get all the way here
And rook
and
h7.
you're LOL'd out the door.
Right, and then we trade rooks and rook f3, rook f6.
Rook f6, okay. Yeah,
Right.
rook f6 and rook h4, and there we go. This is
Another
winning.
rook ending, another couple pawns. Okay, so you're right, and this idea prophylactically may be just as good, but you're right that if So's calculating here, he's probably looking at Yasser type of lines because he's just like, why am I
Forcing a
not
trade
pushing?
Of rook, yeah,
Right.
forcing a trade of rooks. And
Yeah.
Wesley. Now, the other thing
I
that's
think he will go
really terrible, I mean, it's like if white doesn't have enough issues, I mean, black could just play a move like rook e8 and maybe white's king is
Oh yeah, and all of a sudden the
Whose
rook
king is
roll,
weaker?
the rook roll, not to be confused with the Rick roll, happens the other way.
No, but okay, I mean, we're just piling on, sorry.
Yeah,
H5.
No, but it is. I'm genuinely very shocked by how this went because I said, and now I look like I said I thought Magnus was going to win with white because I thought the position was that good for white. I thought that he would show up ready for the fight no matter what when he had the first move. So Wesley really needed to convert. He did that, but I that's what I was expecting was a Magnus Carlsen win here because that position was okay, albeit maybe not the highest evaluation for a starting position we've had, but one of the better ones for white.
It seems
Yeah.
so.
It was nearly half a pawn. There were several moves that are better than obviously what he did with a4.
So, seer of seers, Danny Wrench.
I was wrong. I mean,
Shocking.
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 I've been
I mean-
wrong, I think, twice in my life before this. So
No, it was that was only a half. half.
no,
it was
I'm
one.
kidding.
It's
This
one
is
and a
just-
half.
It's over. It's over.
It
He
is.
brings the rook to b6 and he guards b7 and.
Let me make a small escape and I will.
Yeah. Rook b6. No escape for you.
No escape.
No
for
escape.
You.
The rook
No
guards
escape.
the rook guards the check on b7, and
By
white
the way,
has.
is this an echo of their very first game of today, where we got
two
the
pawns.
two
Yeah.
Two pawns,
pawns,
Yeah.
connected
Okay.
pawns? I want to say.
Rook b6. How do you
Yep.
stop the h pawn? King c3, h3.
I think.
Oh, okay. He can maybe.
He has this
he
outside
has rook
idea of-
h7 once you have pawn on
H2.
h2. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's true. Actually, that's a little tricky. What happens
Yeah.
there? Because if h3, king d4,
Yeah.
h2, rook h7, the rooks trade. Black plays rook, f6. White
and
gets king e4.
That's tricky.
So one funny line: h3, king d4, h2, rook h7, trade, and then b4.
Oh, that's nice.
If king c5, I can play rook b5 check.
Yeah.
And if
you're
you take the
fast.
pawn b3, rook over to b2, I get a5, king c5, rook b7, then I get a4.
Yeah, king
and black
b7,
wins, just barely.
a4, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's times like these when you wish you had somebody to calculate alongside you. Perhaps somebody with a
Your wish came
2800
true.
pedigree and I don't know. If I had to imagine somebody who's maybe played Magnus Carlsen before, I'll just take a pick of my favorite potential co-commentators. Might be Fabiano Caruana. Oh my gosh, there you are, man. What's going on, dude?
Magic.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
The match here between Magnus and Wesley has taken kind of a surprising turn, huh? What are your thoughts watching this as a peer of theirs in terms of what we're seeing?
Yeah, it seems like he'll win the third game in a row.
And then, right? And
I mean, it looks close to hopeless, but I guess these things are always tricky.
Yeah.
Rook endings in general are. H3, I guess he wants to play rook H7.
Oh, yeah. And then we cannot take F3 pawn, right? There is no rook
Yeah.
F6.
I mean, the thing is that it's probably also a very bad ending.
what would be the line you would say then instead of
But
H3?
I would probably look for something better than H3, and that's maybe where the difficulty comes in, because he's a bit low on time, and if he starts searching for the best winning option, then
Right.
if you don't find something that fully satisfies you, it can sometimes get difficult. Okay, White's idea is now king b4, king a5, so it's a very concrete idea.
If we play B4,
b4, king b3, I'm not sure that Black wants to allow, because then a lot of endings where you're 2 pawns up are
drawn.
difficult to win.
Because
or
the pawns are broken and separated. So do you think Wesley made a mistake
I mean,
then?
a5 is a natural move, but then maybe king d4 comes.
Okay,
he
we-
played h3, yeah?
We have liftoff, yeah.
H7.
Yeah, rook h7. Take, rook f6 comes to mind. Take and king b7, and then White has to play like king d4 and try to support his f pawn with the king, but Black has 2 pawns.
Likely losing.
Black is faster.
Well, Black, 2 pawns are usually slower, but they can beat a rook alone.
They have the advantage that Black could sacrifice for the f pawn in theory and maybe still
Yeah,
win in some positions.
If White takes a lot of time to push his f, but it doesn't seem so easy. I mean,
Is it possible?
I just want to point out the players have officially reached move 40, which is why we see the time added back. Everyone, it is not trickery or magic. 15 minutes is added to the clock at move 40. Go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted to ask if it's possible to calculate till the end, or you just go for it intuitively, like you think that, it should be winning.
What would you do in that spot? Are you...
intuitively, it doesn't usually work in rook endings.
Yeah.
But it's not. White has very limited options, so you can sort of calculate. I mean, you start with rook f6, take king b7, and then White has to go for king d4, king e5. I mean,
Right.
Otherwise he's doing nothing.
Right. So
King
this
b6,
is kind of
king e5.
forced.
Yeah, rook.
Frontal, you stay here?
Yeah, rook f8, f4, I guess, a5, or b4. b4 is probably a more.
I guess I was a little worried about check, but it probably doesn't matter. You're probably right. Okay, a5 and if
yeah, f5, b4. And
f5, b4, f6. It just seems like Black is too fast.
at that point, I'd already start pushing the pawns rather than the king, because
Right. This is
the
just
pawns can really take care of the rook on their own.
right.
But it's not.
So what other chances does White have to mix this up then?
I mean, besides king e5, there's really nothing. That's because the rook would be great on f1, and then White could push the pawn freely and keep use the king to cover Black's pawns. But
Right.
but here the rook is really badly placed, and he can't wait passively because Black will slowly. I mean, he can put the king on b3, but Black will slowly advance with a5 and a4 and king a5. So.
Wesley eventually does commit to f6, and it's on the board. Magnus quickly takes the pawn and king b7, but Wesley is going to use his time, which will break. Now, that moment there, he was under a little bit of time pressure, but not super critical. I've been asking everyone, how much do you guys feel the difference in this sort of odd format with no delay, no increment? Because I'm always wondering, is it affecting your play before time pressure sets in because you're already worried about it?
Yeah, when you don't want to get flagged. I also noticed that when I was playing in the Grand Chess Tour this year,
right?
Because there was
the delay, not the increment.
Yeah, well, there was no second time control.
Okay.
And so once you get into time trouble, it's forever, and
It's
you don't
real.
want to get into that.
Yeah.
And also in Norway Chess this year, we played with a very unusual time control. I don't remember exactly how it was, but basically you get into time trouble, you're done.
Right.
There was, I think, increment, but no second time control, and
Right.
it was a 10-second increment. And yeah, you feel it from the start that you can't really.
As a top player, are you enjoying this? Because obviously organizers I'm sometimes an organizer, not really, but let's say organizers are always thinking of interesting formats, ways to spice it up, if you will, right, and create something that gives their tournament distinction over the others. Do you like that as a player, or are you like, hey, everyone, would you just cut it out? Let's just play the standard increment FIDE time control where we can do our thing?
Well, I think that in official FIDE events, there should be like an official
standard
World Championship cycle events, let's say.
Right.
There should be one uniform time control,
Okay.
whether it's rapid or whether it's classical, and it changes a lot, which is a bit jarring. But if it's a private tournament, then do what you want. It's
Right.
fun.
All right, well,
Yeah.
speaking of fun, Wesley So might be about to have a lot if he delivers Magnus Carlsen his third loss in a row. That doesn't happen to Magnus very often.
No, no, it doesn't.
Unfortunately.
Even one loss doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks bad for Magnus. I mean, he has no choice but f5, f6 now. So he's probably going to play quickly to at least put some psychological pressure on Wesley, but Black's moves are very easy, so he'll just play a5, a4, and
Pawns take care of themselves. May I ask about your game? What was the reason you didn't play e4, e6, d4?
I just wanted to surprise him, and I kind of liked the setup with knight e2 and f3, but I didn't really like how I followed up at some point. After he played knight d6, I felt like something should be good. Probably e5 is the correct move, and then I went for this strange knight c3, knight b5 maneuver, and it didn't work out, and he equalized. And I really felt like the starting position was very, very dangerous for Black, maybe just bad for Black.
Yeah, we
So
had
I
the same
was-
feeling.
We had the same feeling, which is, how surprised were you when you saw Magnus play a4 on move 1, and then or at least a5 and a6 to follow?
Yeah, maybe he didn't like the starting position today. Sometimes, I mean, some positions you feel more comfortable with, even if they're not objectively good for Black. You still feel like at least you know where you put your pieces. So maybe he didn't like it with either color. I also didn't like the starting position too much.
Yeah.
I felt very, I just didn't quite know how to place my pieces. With Black, I didn't like it before the game, and then during the game I was suffering enormously from like the very start. And then with White, I just didn't feel like I felt the position too well.
Are positions with the bishops in the center harder to coordinate than others?
I mean, you mean both bishops on d1 and
Yeah,
e1?
I mean, are those...
I've never had a position
Okay,
like that
because
before.
you said it was, I'm just going to flash to it real quick, obviously, everyone. Don't worry, you can still see the live position, and So's not going anywhere. He just wanted water. This was the starting position I'm referring to and asking Fabiano how he feels about it, and that, you said that it was difficult, you didn't have a feel for where your pieces belong. I just wondered if that was unique, or you feel like those center bishop positions are kind of sticky. Yasser never likes the bishops in the center there.
Yeah, they're very awkward in the center.
Yeah.
Because you don't really move them. I mean, you don't know where to put them.
Right.
Like sometimes the bishop goes to f3 it seemed, sometimes to c2, and likewise with the bishop on e1.
Right.
Sometimes to c3, sometimes to f2 or g3. But the main problem with Black, I thought, was that after e4, which is clearly the correct move, you can't, you can play e5, it's not so bad, I guess, but
f4, right?
but f4 seems unpleasant. And so, yeah, like in chess we have the standard Sicilian, the symmetrical e4, e5, and in this position, like, symmetrical approach didn't seem good. c5 was just bad.
Yeah, mainly because of the newly found Queen's-King's gambit, right?
I would call it a Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. So it was
Also not really
difficult.
a gambit at all. So.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's just good for White. So that made it hard, which is why e6, or in your case, sort of an Al Johan's approach.
But
was
knight
taken.
f6 also is followed by e6. Like,
Right.
Black has only one setup, which
Right.
makes any sense, which is knight f6 or e6 or e6 immediately, and then a French.
Well, as we look at the live position here, I mean, I know everyone joining is waiting for the drama. Fabiano gave a great line, a great point already. We'll just highlight the main issue is, even if we kind of just go straight forward here, even make an extra king move for good measure where it's not needed, the point is these pawns are just way too fast.
Well, this is actually you messed up. Because
Oh, yeah? Which
rook
which
h5 is
Uh-oh.
very, because you give checks, and if the king goes back, then you rook h4, Well, here you just give checks. The king has nowhere to hide.
Oh, I thought I could eventually get here and block with b3.
No. Wait, oh, sorry, you can. What am I thinking?
I'm still okay.
No, you're right.
Because here there's no draw, right?
Yeah, this is...
Anyway.
Well,
but I hear what you're saying. I don't need to, but yeah, I knew the king could eventually hide on the a file.
Yeah, no, this was White's last hope, so now I guess...
So you're saying if not even Danny is messing up the position, you're saying it's winning. Is that what you're saying? It looks winning for black.
It looks hopeless, and Magnus doesn't look happy.
Yeah, Magnus has got that, the kind of face he might be moments away from pushing his chair back and extending his hand, because this is...
It's also not like a draw is a great result for him. I mean, a loss is just the end of the match.
In theory, and not quite, but almost.
Not theoretically, but...
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
9 points, yeah.
It's a lot.
You're not making back 9 points. I mean, I really thought it was a must-win for him. I think he thought the same thing. Even a draw like 6 points is just too much. That means you would have to go +3 in rapid to equalize.
Yeah.
Or +2, which is very difficult, and then +2 in blitz to equalize. I mean,
it's very hard.
Too much of a deficit.
Fischer Random kind of makes things possible in the sense, as a top player, you would say if you needed a draw, you could prepare one. Fischer Random is a little harder, right? Because they don't have as much control over the prep.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, what are the chances someone wins 5 in a row? Like, it's possible. More probable in Fischer Random than classical.
It's possible. Yeah. But, I mean, when we're talking about a player like Wesley, or, I mean, a player who's the top in the world,
yeah,
it's very rare. Like, usually a player of that level only loses many games in a row when they're tilted.
Right.
And Wesley has no reason to be tilted.
Right.
I think that, on the contrary, Magnus is a bit tilted after yesterday.
Plays King D4. He might be hoping for one free move. Wesley's going to say pass and allow Rook F5 check.
A3.
But no, yeah.
B3 messes it up because King C3.
Right. Yeah, no, but A3 is...
But A3 and the king...
has freedom.
Yeah, I don't really see much hope here.
There is a chance for White. I mean, sometimes the positions are drawn even if you have 2 pawns, right? Sometimes.
Well,
if you have
but they have to be kind of separated, right?
No, when the pawns are blockaded by the king. Let's say A3, King B3.
Yeah, can we show it what is the danger?
So like if A3, let's say king goes here and we make silly moves.
Even if there is no pawn.
This is an immediate draw. No, but without the F pawn it would be losing because you don't have a firm blockade here.
Yeah.
But there are some...
Huh.
There are
well, actually, there's a tricky moment here because if A3, King C2, are we already in a spot that makes it hard?
King A4, Rook F4, you mean, no?
Yeah, A3, King C2, King A4, Rook F4.
Or just F6, actually. No, wait, F6, there's...
Yeah, to cut the king from C file.
Yeah, but that's a hard move to find here.
But
to play Rook C8 and leave?
Well, it threatens Rook C3, so it actually wins a tempo.
Ah, okay. That's actually a key point. So Rook's... Oh, he finds it. Rook C8. F6 just... Wait, it doesn't allow check.
B3, F7, B2, yeah?
Yeah,
B3... Okay, so the live position already has the pawn on F6, so if B3, F7, B2, and the king is cut, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that right, Bobby?
Yeah, this is.
I'm looking at you, man.
No, I think you can also win this one.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that means the world to me. Chad, you heard that. You heard what Bobby said. I could win this one.
I mean, he'll probably start giving checks with Rook F5.
Right, and then that's the desperation.
But the king hides on A3.
Yeah.
It also can go to B6, as far as I can tell. I mean, the pawns kind of win on their own at this point. Unless there's Rook F4, but...
I don't know if we're going that far. We're wondering if our producer, Peter Dockers, could win this one, but let's hold that. Maybe we'll practice it later tonight.
I think Peter would win this one, too.
Yeah. Yay! Well, obviously... Huge moment here for Wesley So. Is it? I mean, I think a lot of people, everybody saw Wesley as a huge underdog coming in against Magnus. And how impressed have you been with Wesley? I mean, obviously he joined the quarterfinal along with yourself, 8 of you, right? He lost to Hikaru and then made his way back in, right? Looking at Wesley and how confident he's been in the Fischer random portion, what have been your thoughts or takeaways in terms of how well he's played?
Yeah, this match was surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he was an underdog. But it seems like Magnus was just kind of resigned to losing today.
Flustered.
After yesterday, it's unexpected. Usually he finds a way to bounce back. But yeah, he was just completely dominated today. I mean, it wasn't like either game today was an accident.
Right.
He was just outplayed in both of them from the start. And I mean, the first game was the only game where he had an advantage.
Right.
After that, it's all been kind of downhill.
You mean game 1 yesterday?
Yeah. But okay, these are. I mean, everyone has bad days, including Magnus, and one bad day in this event is kind of the end.
Right.
You usually don't get another chance.
Right.
Wow. Who would expect it?
Who would expect, right? Well, right now Wesley is moments away from converting, and again, critical line, everyone, F7 push. The main point, among other things, is that black is queening with check. Even if there were some messy things like rook F1 and king B4, there's just no way to stop it.
A3 is probably...
Or A3, right? Just A3 and A2. And
yeah.
What?
It doesn't really matter at this
Doesn't
point.
really matter. Well, I wanted to show a funny line with king b4 that even if you're hoping for some sort of you get a queen and a skewer, but it doesn't work because black queens with check on b1.
Well, you could try to set it up with king d2.
Yeah, okay.
But it's...
right, you'd have to play...
After king d2, even, I mean...
King b3.
Well, king b3 wins as well.
Yeah.
Because
Too much.
The king is cut off in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, A3 also wins.
Yeah,
and with
resigned.
that, Magnus Carlsen has resigned.
Wow.
And likely also resigned his chances at becoming the first ever Fischer Random Chess World Champion, unfortunately. Now, not over yet. There will be chess tomorrow, but Wesley So has taken an absolutely commanding lead here with a 10.5, 1.5 score.
Wow.